to start. Okay, so welcome guys. This is day 2 of review, and we are going to talk about the remaining pieces of grammar, or the grammar topics that we are going to talk about, let's say. Okay, so first thing that we have on the list is actually this one. It is the grammar of used to and would. Okay, the grammar of what? Used to and would. Okay, so let's start with the first one. Used to. What do we use it for, and how to use it, or what it means, the uses, and everything we'll talk. First thing that we should know is that used to is used to talk about past situations. Okay, now I know you might be wondering, so what is past situation? So a past situation can be divided into two different categories, either past habits or past states. Okay, so we can say that used to can be used to talk about both of them. Used to can be used to talk about both of them, past situations and past habits. Past habits and past states. Okay, so let's go with the structure as well. The structure of this is actually pretty easy. So you're just using used to plus a verb 1. Okay, if you don't like verb 1, you can always call it an infinitive. What can you call, guys? An infinitive. And of course, at the beginning, you have to put a subject, and after the verb, you can have the continuation, or the rest of the sentence can be either a complement or an object. It doesn't really matter. And the technique that you can use in order to, make it negative, we're just gonna use it again, everything the same, but we're gonna put didn't plus used to, okay, removing the D this time. And then you're gonna have again verb 1, and you're gonna have infinitive there as well, okay? Now, one thing, guys, that you should be careful of is called the pronunciation of this, okay? How do you pronounce them? So the positive one used to, as if you want to read it very entirely or completely, you can say used to, but no one is going to say that, okay? No one is going to say that in their right mind. When you're trying to be fluent, when you're trying to speak in a very natural tone and a natural way, you have to bring in some changes. So what do? First, you're going to have a y sound, and please, guys, don't forget, this U is going to be the schwa, okay? So my keyboard does not have the schwa symbol, but please think of it or consider it as the schwa sound, okay? So you're gonna say like use and not Z, okay? Now be very, very careful, guys. It's not Z, it is S sound. Even though it's a verb, yes, okay? If it was a normal verb, another verb, and you're using the word use, of course it's gonna be called use, Z, because it's a verb. But in here, even though it is a verb, but it is a fixed type of expression, like that we even hold different sessions or separate sessions for it. As the name suggests, used to is a grammar now, okay? So because it's very common like this, so people are not gonna say the Z sound, okay? They're just gonna say used to, and this one is going to be a schwa again, so please don't forget it. You're gonna have a Y sound and a schwa sound, like a y, and then you're gonna have an S, a T, and another schwa, okay? And the good thing is that the negative, what, guys? The negative of used to, like this, okay, is also going to be same pronunciation. You're just gonna say it in the same way, used to. You're just adding, of course, didn't, so that should be, pretty obvious until now, but if it is not, so there you go, okay? You have to use didn't, and the pronunciation of this and the pronunciation of this, or both of them, let's say, are the same. Used to, okay? Now, so we have the usages, we have the structure, and we have the pronunciation. Let's go with some examples here. Some examples can be like, I used to wake up every morning at 3 o'clock. Now this is like a past habit. You don't have it anymore, okay? So this is a past habit. If you go to a past state, you can also say like, I used to be happy when I was a child. See, like it means like now I'm not happy, but when I was a child, I was happy. So I used to be happy. It was my state in the past. So as you can see, we have the examples, uses, structure, and pronunciation. Any questions in this grammar topic? Very good. Okay, so if you don't have any questions there, we're going to go with would, okay, and be very careful how would is used. Now, the uses part, the what, guys? The uses part of would is kind of the same as used to, but a little different as well. Now, the difference is that you cannot use would to talk about past states. You cannot use what? Would to talk about past states. You have to use it for talking about past habits, or as we can also call it, past actions that you had to do regularly. Okay, let's call it past regular actions. Okay, so let's go with the structure ones. Now, the structure of would is also very easy because it's just a modal verb. It's just a modal verb, and it's also a let's say a non-subject dependent, right? So it doesn't depend on the subject, so it doesn't change if you have she or he or I. Would is would all the time, which is good news for us, okay? So subject plus would plus verb 1, and you can also call it infinitive, and you can continue it as well. The negative one is kind of the same, but you're just gonna add a not next to would, okay? So you can contract it into a wouldn't, that's also right, but you don't need to if you don't want to, so I'm not gonna write it there. Or you can call it an infinitive after it. So, and the question, of course, you're just bringing would at the beginning, so we're not gonna write that, but it is something that you should know, okay? Pronunciation, we're not going to talk about it. It's easy, kind of the same as the word wood, right? We have wood as a type of material, let's say, that you use for building some stuff. So same pronunciation. And let's go with some examples here as well. One example can be like, I would go to school every early morning in the past. See, I would go to school every early morning in the past. So it means like it is something that was done regularly in the past, but not anymore. Okay, would. Anyone else with one more example here for would? Yes, Kamla. I would go to a gym every week. In the past, if you don't want to mention it, you don't need to, okay? Just this much is also enough. But mentioning the time expression like this, in the past or something like that, that shows that you're talking about something in the past, it's kind of better because would can be used for, a ton of things, okay? Would can be used for a ton of things in English. So just mentioning the time expression is not gonna hurt. Okay. Thank you guys. That was awesome. Do you have any questions in this grammar topic? So let's go and talk about this part as well. Now, this part, guys, is something that is, kind of confusing the hell, let's say, out of many of my students, but I hope you guys don't get that much confused. You're using like used to and another structure, let's say, called be used to or get used to in two different situations, completely different situations. Okay, they have different meanings, everything is different, even the things that can come after them is many like a lot different, let's say. Okay, now where's the confusion? The confusion comes when you're just talking about like get used to or be used to, and you're comparing it with used to alone. Okay, Now, the problem here is that used to alone is like taking a verb one, for example, after it, and it's talking about past situations. However, this one is a little different. Okay, this one is a little different. All of them, or not all of them, sorry, we cannot say it, both of them take noun or noun phrases. Noun phrases after them. You can also call it like, you know, or put gerunds there, but you know, I thought that gerund could go in the noun category, but if you want, you can write it there, okay? So noun phrases, gerunds, and nouns themselves can come after get used to or be used to, okay? But what does it mean? What meaning does it give? So let's start with the first one, uses. I will try to make it as simple as possible. Let's say that get used to and be used to are both kind of similar with a little difference, but we're not going to mention that. We're just going to say what meaning overall does it give, okay? So the meaning overall is kind of like talking about present habits, okay? Or you can say current habits, the habits that you have currently and you want to talk about them, you know, you can use these two. Okay, or also when you're talking about, you know, habitualizing. What, guys? Habitualizing. I'm sorry about the misspelling. This is supposed to work. Sometimes these Word document dictionaries are not up to date. I'm gonna say ignore. Okay. So habitualizing or making it as a habit, okay, or making as a habit, I mean. So habitualizing what? Habitualizing regular actions. So when you want to also talk about some actions that you do regularly and they're becoming your habit, right? They're becoming normal for you. So normalizing as well, we can write it here. You know, for these ones, you can also use what? Get used to or be used to. So let me just come to the structure as well. So the structure of get used to or be used to, as we talked about before, it's very easy. So it's like subject plus get used to. And be careful, guys, get used to can change. Get can go to got or have gotten or like will get, right? This is okay. I mean, you can do some changes if you want, as long as the meaning is clear. So you have to focus on the meaning as well. But I'm not going to write it, okay? I'm just going to put get used to. Plus noun, noun phrases, or gerunds, okay? And you can, of course, continue if you want. The negative one is going to just take don't or does not. So we're going to write don't or like this, okay? And then you're going to have get used to plus noun, okay, nouns, noun phrases, or gerunds, okay? And the same goes with the be used to. The same goes with the be used to, with a little difference, of course. What is that? So if we go to that one, it's going to be like subject, be used to, and of course you're changing be, okay, depending on the subject. So he is used to, I am used to, don't forget that. After that, you're gonna again have noun, nouns, noun phrases, or gerunds, okay? But the negative one, I believe, is gonna be a little different because, you know, it's be, right? So you're making be negative. So you're gonna say like be not, okay, plus used to, plus nouns, noun phrases, and gerunds. Okay, structures are a bit confusing, but you know, once you get to know them, once you make 2 or 3 examples, they're gonna become much simpler. And the examples can be like, you know, let's go with the first one. I am getting used to the new environment or the new neighborhood, right? Let's say that you have moved houses. You've moved houses, so you're now in a different neighborhood altogether. So when a person or your friends from the older place, let's say, when they come and see you, they say like, okay, so how is the new neighborhood? Like, is it getting normal for you? Like, or is it still, is it, or does it still feel very strange and weird? Then you say, no, 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 it's okay. I'm getting used to the new environment, or I'm getting used to the new neighborhood. It means like, it's becoming normal. What? What does it mean, guys? It is becoming normal. So it's in the process, okay? Not completely, but it is in the process. And if you use be used to, for example, you can say that, no worries, I am used to working at or working under pressure. See? Now, for example, you got a new job and your friend says, hey, like, don't you want to leave that job? I heard that, the boss there is very, very a pain in the where, so I'm not going to say that. Then you say, no, no, it's okay. It's okay. I'm used to working under pressure. I'm used to working. So this is not becoming normal, guys. This is normal. It is normal. Okay, so this thing is normal for you now. And as you can see in here, to the new environment or the new neighborhood is a noun phrase here. If you just have one environment or just one neighborhood, it's going to be a noun itself. Working, right? Working is going to be our gerund. So we are also technically following the structure rules as well. Any questions in this part? Very good then. Okay, let's continue, guys, and go to the next one. Okay, sorry, one small thing is remaining here. So, no longer and any more. No longer and any more. I'm just going to read it from here, and we're going to give one or two examples, okay? We use no longer before a positive verb, okay? Before a positive verb or after the verb be. Now, be careful. It is before the positive verb, like other verbs, I mean the do family verbs, and it is going to be after the be family verbs. So, for example, we no longer go to the old forest. It's no longer there. It is also kind of talking about a past habit. Technically, it can actually even take the place of used to, if you don't like using used to a lot, but you do have to change certain parts of it, right? So for example, you can say like, we no longer play soccer on Fridays. So what does it mean? In the past, this was their what, guys? Was their habit. But now it's not, right? But now it's not. This is how you can use no longer to talk about past habits as well. And another technique that we have, is going to be concerning anymore. Let's make it bold. So what does anymore do? Let's see, guys. We use anymore at the end of a sentence with a negative verb. At the end of a sentence, okay? And with a negative verb. So the verb, of course, is in the middle of the sentence, as we will see. Don't, not. And the not part, or the negating part, the part that actually makes your sentence negative, comes in the middle. But anymore itself should come at the end. And as you can see in the book, it is written separately, but that is the British spelling. I'm following the American one, so for me, it's going to be like this, okay? So let's give an example here. So we can say like, we don't play soccer on Fridays anymore. See, same thing. Once again, you can say that in the past, this was their habit. Any questions here? You're very welcome. There was a hand. Okay. Yes, that is right. We don't talk anymore. That's a very good song, if you want to listen to it one day. Okay, guys, coming back. So the other one is obligation and permission. Okay, so this is a bit longer. Try to just, get ready first and let's learn this, okay? Obligation and permission. So in here, you're mostly talking about things that you are obligated to do, right? Things that you're obligated to do, like in a way you're forced to do it. It's necessary that you have to do it, right? And the other one is permission, like, something like you have permission to do it and or you don't have permission to do it, okay? And they have been formed in these cells or in this table in a very good way. Let's start with the first one. So the first one is a strong positive obligation. Strong positive obligation. And you are making the rule. So let's write it. We're gonna write strong, not a string, strong positive obligation. And what are we using, guys? We're gonna be using must, okay? And it is your rule. Let's write own rule, okay? So it's your own rule. It's not somebody else who's talking to you and saying that you must do this or do that. It is you who has put the obligation upon themselves, okay? So for example, you can say that I must study when I get the chance tonight. My exam is near. See? Very easy. Now, another one, right, for a strong positive obligation can be, this side. Okay, so in this side, as you can see, this is the category that says that speaker is describing somebody else's rule. Another person has made the rule, so now you're talking about it, right? If another person has made the rule, you can use like have to or need to do the same thing, okay? But be careful, this time it's someone else. Let's write someone else's rule. Someone else's rule. Okay, one or two examples. You can say like, okay, drivers have to stop at the red light. See, who has made the rule, guys? Of course, the government has made the rule. Okay, so it is not your rule. At the red light or at a red light. Yeah, that's okay. So yeah, you can also bring need to, so it doesn't really matter. I hope it's not very hard. And one more thing is that, when you're talking about like another person's rule here, you can also go in the past category with them. You can also go in the past category with them. So in the past category, you are just gonna say like had to and needed to. So the other things are similar or the same. Let's write the same. Okay. Any questions in strong positive obligation? Very good. Okay, so don't forget, okay? Learn like this, like obligation, okay? So you have to do it, okay? It's necessary. Let's go with the other one. Now, after that is called strong negative obligation. Strong negative obligation, okay? So when you have a strong negative, sorry, not negative, negative obligation, you have to make some changes. So first, must is going to take mustn't, or take, not sorry, it's going to become mustn't, okay? Or must not, depending on whatever you want. And once again, it's going to be your own rule, okay? Own rule. Example can be like, I mustn't play a lot of video games. So this is something that you have put on yourself, okay? This is like an obligation that you have put on yourself. You're saying that, oh, this is something I should not do, right? A very strong degree of should, let's say, or obligation, so mustn't. But if you continue and go a bit, to the other side, you can see that you can also talk about, the other people's rules, right? Another person has asked you to do it. So that, in that one, you're going to use something else. That is like be allowed to. Be allowed to, or you can also use can't. You can also use what? Can't. Okay, so one example can be, I am not allowed to watch TV during the day. See? Now, by who? Maybe by your father. By whom? Maybe by your mother. We don't know, okay? But you're not allowed to watch TV during the day. Now, if this was your rule, you would never say I'm not allowed. You would say I mustn't watch, right? Or I must not watch TV. But since it's somebody else's rule, so you're going to say I'm not allowed to watch. Let's write somebody else's rule, okay? And the same you can bring can't as well. I can't watch TV during the day, so that is right. Just be careful that can't, when can't comes, it literally just comes instead of all of this. 1, 2, 3, 4 words, okay? So don't put the 2 there. With can, we cannot use to. So, and also you can go to the past version. The past version is, of course, be in the past, right? So kind of like was and were. And then you're going to have like allowed to. And then after that, you have like, do we have something else here? It hasn't said. Let's see if we can use couldn't. Couldn't, yeah, couldn't is okay, but a little hard to explain, okay? So especially to some people, because couldn't has a lot of uses, okay? So it's very hard for a person to understand what meaning you're trying to convey. So let's just not use it. Just stick with be in the past allowed to. Okay, that is the past version. Okay. Any questions in the strong negative obligation, guys? Very good. Okay. Continuing, guys, and going to the other one. So after that, you have something else called positive obligation. Called what, guys? Positive obligation. Now, the positive obligation, the things that you can use are should and ought to. Let's write it. Should and ought to. Okay, both of them. And of course, once again, you can use them for about your own rules as well. Okay, so very, very easy. You can say like, I should, let's say I should study my lessons before the exam day. See, like this is something that you have put upon yourself. And you can also use ought to, so not a very big difference. You're just removing should and you're bringing ought to completely. Now be careful. The to part is connected to ought, okay? So it must be there. Without the to, ought doesn't give meaning. So you have to say, I ought to study. But if you want to use should, then you have to remove the to, because as we said, it is connected to ought. If you're removing ought, so the to goes with it, okay? And should stays alone. And what if you're talking about somebody else's rule, right? For somebody else, guys, it's okay to use this one. I am supposed to. So you're going to use be plus supposed to, right? Let's write it somebody or someone. What is going on? Yeah. Someone else's rule, okay? So an example can be, we can say that my brother is supposed to look after the baby at home when we are not there. See, my brother is supposed to look after the baby at home when we're not there. So it's kind of like, your brother has not put this obligation upon himself. The father has done it, the mother has done it, okay? So someone with a little more authority. And in the past, just be changes to the past version, and then you take supposed to itself. Same. Any questions? Thank you. Okay, going after the guys, no obligation, the favorite of them all, okay? No obligation. So when there's no obligation, when no one is forcing you what to do, what can you use? Okay, first thing you can use is don't have to, right? Don't have to, or don't need to. Or what, guys? Don't need to, okay? And there's one more, which is the negative of need, but it's not very common, but I'm just gonna write it, but be careful if you don't want to use it, just don't. Okay, it's not supposed to be used like everything, I mean, in this book or in this lesson, but you should take it, or learn it whenever you get a chance. So yes, needn't is actually a modal verb for us. It is here. So it is okay, but we are not going to use it a lot because it's not very common. But some examples are there. Some examples are there. So for example, you can say like, I don't have to tell you anything. For example, if a policeman, or a police officer, let's say, a police officer stops you right in the middle of the street with no warrant, like that letter that they have from the court, and they ask you like, hey, like, even if they ask you what is your name, you don't have to tell them anything. A police officer, okay? You just say like, I don't have to tell you anything. It's my right. Okay, so you can continue it like, it's my right, okay? Or it's my right to do so. So this is okay. I mean, this is one example. No obligation. No one is obligating you. No one is forcing you to state your name to that agent, okay? And of course, we have some other stuff here as well. And that is the past version. As you can see, so it's not really connected whether it is your rule or somebody else's rule, because there's no rule here. It's just no obligation, okay? But in the past, you have it. So what is the past version? The past version is like just the didn't have to part and the didn't need to. Okay, so the other parts are set. Any questions? Very good. Okay, now we're coming to the last two. They're called permission and no permission. When you give permission to someone, what do you do? And when you don't give permission to someone, what do you do, or what do you say in general? So let's start with the first one. So for permission, we can use can. We can use what, guys? Can, okay? To talk about whose rule? Own rule as well. So when you have made a rule on others, you can use it with can. It's much better. So you can say like, hey, you can go to the party if your friends are going to. Okay? So for example, you have a little child. Not a very little child, let's say, like around, let's say 15 or 14, and they want to go to a party. And now you're saying, okay, you can go to the party as long as your friends are going to, or if your friends are going to, okay? So this is your rule. You have made this rule on your child, okay? To make them more, keep them safe or stuff like that. However, if you go to the other side, you can also use can and also be allowed to. Be what? Allowed to. See? So this one is mostly used for others rules. Okay, so for other people's rules, you can use can, or you can also use be allowed to. For example, you can say that I am allowed to attend the party if you are coming with me. So you're saying it to your friend, for example, hey, I'm allowed to attend the party, but only if you're coming with me. See, I'm allowed. By who? By your parents. So there is someone else out there, okay, who's giving you the permission or who's taking the permission. And of course, you can go to the past version. Now, the past version is going to be like could, okay, the past of can, and also the past of be, which is like was and were. Okay, so let's write it. Allowed to. Okay, so this is used for past version. Everything else is the same. Any questions? Good. Okay, and going to the last one, guys, no permission. When there's no permission, so what do you do, or what can you say to someone? It's not really a negative obligation, guys, so be careful, okay? It's not very much a negative obligation. It's more of a written rule or an understood rule somewhere. So that is like, you can use like cannot or of course can't, the, you know, what do you call it? The contracted form. Let's write it here, right? Okay, so an example can be, right, you cannot what? You cannot kill a person. You cannot kill another human being, or let's go even further. You cannot kill any living, okay, let's make it a little different. Any sentient living creature, because yeah, it's much better like this. Okay, you cannot kill any sentient living creature. There is no permission for this. Okay, so this is like set by the law of the government even. You know, how I wish for that day to come, for this to become a complete rule. It would be much better. Okay, and then you go to the side when you know, other people's rules are there, right? Other people's rules are in discussion. So you can of course use once again cannot or can't, and this time you can also use what? Not allowed. Not allowed. So let's write not. Sorry, be not allowed to. Okay, so this is others rules, and this first one was own rules. So one example can be, I am not allowed to enter the principal's office at my school. So who is not allowing you? Maybe a teacher, maybe the security guard, maybe the principal himself or herself. Okay, so that's one way of saying these sentences. Do you have any questions? Good. And as you can see in the past, you're just changing it like this. Couldn't and be in the past with not allowed to. Okay, so this is called past version. Okay, so continuing guys a bit and going to the next one. What is the next thing that we have to talk about? Okay, so this is called future probability. Future what? Future probability, okay? So we use a very, very wide range of modal verbs, adverbs, adjectives, and etc. to describe what we think is the probability of future events. Probability is like, you can say, the chance of it happening, okay? The chance of it happening. Degree of probability is like 100% high, which is actually not true. So no one can, you know, predict the future 100% correct or accurately. So we're just gonna say like 99 or something, and then you come down as 50 and even 0, but once again you cannot really say 0, so we're gonna say like 1% or something. Okay, so that is the degree of probability or the chance of something happening, and there are three different techniques that we're using here. One is the usage of modal verbs to talk about probability, and the other one is like using expressions that we have or we might not have for some of them. See, they're empty completely. And then you also have something called adjectives. Some adjectives can actually help you talk about this. Okay, so let's throw the first one, modal verbs. Let's try degree of, not degree of probability, let's name it the real one. What was that? Future probability. Future probability. Okay, go with the modals first. Let's write modals, modal verbs. Okay, or no, let's go with a different technique. Okay, we're gonna write all of them in just one category. So number one, the thing that you can use is what? Will certainly, or will probably. Done. So you can use will certainly, right? Will plus an adverb, I mean, so this is called an adverb, or will probably, which is also an adverb, they can be used. Okay, so these three were all for the what? For the modals. Okay, these three were all for the modals. Let's write modal verbs 100%, or let's just call it high. Okay, and then you might come down a bit and you might check something else. Expressions. Now, to use expressions that, to talk about the high things, we only have one thing, and that is what? I'm sure plus clause. See, so you have a clause. I'm sure plus subject will go. So I'm sure America will come. I'm sure Joe Biden will kill Donald Trump. I'm sure John Cena will beat The Undertaker in a match. See, like all of these sentences were very easy, and you can use this kind of expressions to talk about the high probability of something. Okay. So if you're continuing a bit, let's go on to the other ones. The other one is adjectives. Which adjectives can we use to talk about, high degrees of probabilities? So we can use adjectives, that's right, or adjective in this case, that is called certain. Okay, so one example for this can be like, it is certain that the FIFA World Cup 2026, I'm not even sure, guys, I'm just gonna say it, okay, is going to be held in the US. Okay, so kind of like that. You can use these kind of things as well. So it's kind of like, it's certain plus that plus a clause again. Okay, so if we write it plus, we're going to put that inside parentheses. It's not always needed. Sometimes you need it to make your sentence more understandable. So if we go to the next category, it is going to be like the 75%, right? Like the low high, right? Like higher than medium, but lower than the actual high degree. So we're gonna go with these modal verbs. Let's write it. Modal verbs that are in the 75% accuracy. So they can be like, could well, okay? Then you have what? May well, and then you have might well. Very, very easy, not very hard. This well part is a little funny for most people because really they don't really use it a lot, in our country especially, but it is actually a good phrase. So if you want to use it, don't forget to do it, okay? Of course, it's modal, so it's all going to come plus an infinitive. Also, we can call it a verb one, okay? So after the modal verbs, what else do we have? We have expressions, and the expressions category is completely empty. So we have nothing for them. But in the adjectives category, we have something. In the adjectives category, we have something. So 75% is going to be like something called likely, or you can also call it very likely, depending on what you want to say, okay? So the structure is like likely plus what, guys? See, it is likely that we will go. That we will go. So again, once again, you have a that clause or that plus a clause, as you can also call it. And the same thing goes for the one below. Okay, so if we continue and go to the next one, modal verbs once again, and this time is called the 50% or the mid tier. Okay, the mid tier. Okay, yeah, and for those people might be wondering, so why am I writing mid with MID? So that is also a very good format and a very different spelling of it, but they have kind of the same thing here. Okay? So what are they? They can be like could, they can be may, or even might. Okay, so these three modal verbs can be used to talk about those future events or those future possibilities with a probability percentage of 50%. So if we continue a bit and check the expressions category, you have one very good phrase, and that is, let's write it here, expressions 50% mid-tier. So it's going to be like, there is a good chance that plus clause. Okay, so continue your sentence in any way you like. It's very easy. There's a good chance, or that there's a chance, that's also right. There's a good chance that we will go. There's a good chance that, let's say Taylor Swift will release a new album very soon. And the last one is using an adjective. So the adjective one is very easy and actually something that I know you guys are using a lot more than many people might think. And that is the adjective of possible. So how can you do it? See, it's possible that we will go. Once again, the structure is it is possible plus that plus clause. Okay? Very, very easy. Do you have any questions until now? Okay, so let's go with a part where it's kind of like, near 0%, near a percentage that, the chance of something happening is not a lot. Okay, so for that one, let's put a percentage of around 20%. Yeah, 20 sounds good. So for that one, we're actually using a mixture of an adverb with a modal verb, which is won't. Probably won't. Easy, done, no confusion. Okay, just say it. We probably won't go. Done. We probably won't play soccer today. Done. They're all right. Okay, no other stuff needed. But if you go to the expression side, now you have a bit more. So we're going to go there. Let's write it. Expressions of 20%. We can say, I don't suppose we will go. So what can we say? We can say, I don't suppose plus. Okay. Another one. I doubt if plus clause. See, I doubt if we'll go. And the other one is, I shouldn't think plus clause. Yes, the third one is actually one of the phrases that I normally don't really use. So, it sounds a bit funny to me as well. But, if you want to use it, no one's going to stop you. It is actually a very good phrase. Okay, I don't suppose that these chairs are that expensive, or I doubt if the new Samsung TV is 4K, or I shouldn't think that the AC is going to last for another 10 days even. So these three were the three expressions, and then we have one more for the adjectives. So let's write it here. Adjectives category, 20%. It is only one, and it is actually something that you can put with very or without very, but you have to say unlikely, not likely, but unlikely, and then you have that plus clause. Okay, so for example, it is very unlikely that, let's say tomorrow it will rain, or that it will rain tomorrow, right? It is very unlikely. Okay, now we're going to the last one. Now the last one, guys, it is written 0%, but I really, really don't want to say 0%. I'm actually going to the negative side. I hope that is kind of better. I'm not sure if I'm not understanding this concept behind putting 0 here, but just to show you what I mean, okay? Just to show you what I mean, I am trying to talk about something like this. For example, say that you have a spectrum, okay, like a degree, okay? So this side is the side that will happen, right? So let's put a check mark. Things that will happen, and this side is the things that you're sure that will not happen. See, like both of them are actually sure. Okay, so for both you're very, very sure. Let's write sure. Oh my god, I'm very sorry for this. Okay, this is also the same. You're very sure. So if I say that, for example, Ashraf Ghani, right? Ashraf Ghani will come back to Afghanistan, right? Ashraf Ghani coming back to Afghanistan. So that is the event. Ashraf Ghani, the event of Ashraf Ghani coming back to Afghanistan is the thing that we're talking or discussing about. So do you think that this is on this side, you're sure that it will happen? Sure with a check mark or sure with a cross. You're sure that it will not happen, right? So if you say that it's sure with a check mark, so you can use what? You can use actually this. 100% or high, yes. He will come. He will certainly come, or he will probably come. I'm sure that he will come, or it's certain that he will come back to the country. But if you're not sure about it, you will just use these ones like 50% or 20%, right? 20% is really good. He probably won't come. I don't suppose that he will come like that. But if you're sure of it, if you're sure that it will not happen, right? You're sure that it will not happen. So this is what I mean when I say that it's good not to say 0%, but it's good to actually say negative high, right? Negative high. So if this is 99%, that is negative 99%. Okay, so I just hope that it's as clear to you as it is to me. If you don't understand it, guys, you can of course ask me again, okay? We will try to talk about it. Okay. But for now, this is what I mean. The modal verbs that you can use for the negative 99%. So it's kind of like this. You are sure that it won't happen. Okay, so this is what it means. You're sure that it won't happen. For these ones, we can use what? Won't. Just very easy, just the negative of will. So will not. And certainly won't, adding in an adverb. Certainly won't. Okay, and we have also two expressions, but we don't have any adjective, so don't worry. What are the expressions? So the expressions that we can use for this, once again, let me just copy and paste this. Okay, the expressions can be like, there is no chance that plus clause. Okay, there's no chance that will go, or I can't imagine, or I can't imagine that plus clause. Okay, do you have any questions here, guys? Very good. Okay, so we also have, I believe, two more things. Yes, we have two more things here. So let's start with the first one, positive and negative forms. I'm just going to read it from here. We can make negative statements of probability with might not or may not as well. So don't use couldn't in this way. It refers to the possibility and not to the future probability. For example, we could go out on Friday. It is possible that we'll go. But if you say we couldn't go out on Friday, it means like in the past, we were not able to go out on Fridays. Okay, the other one is like adverbs like certainly and probably increase or decrease the level of certainty, and come after will. Come after will, but when the will is negative, it's supposed to come before it. For example, it'll probably, see, it's coming after will. It'll probably be a nice day today. But now because in here will is actually negative, so it's won't, you're putting it before. But it probably won't be nice tomorrow. Okay, that's the way you can make your sentences. And this is a very good structure. It's not something that we talked about, because in there we also always said that adjective plus that plus clause, but in this time it's a little different. You can use adjective plus to plus infinitive as well to talk about these probabilities. For example, with the adjectives sure, likely, unlikely, certain, bound. Don't forget, sure, likely, unlikely, certain, and bound. We can use the pattern be plus adjective, to plus infinitive as well. Okay, so for example, let's choose sure. Let's choose sure. Sure plus, what was that? Sure plus to plus infinitive. You can also just call it adjective if you want, but specific adjectives. Okay, so not all adjectives can be done in this way. Okay. One example can be like the world economy is sure to collapse in the next few days. See? The world economy, right? The economy of the world, the complete state of the money that the world has is sure to collapse. If I just say that might collapse, if I just say what? Might collapse. For example, the world economy, what happened? Economy might collapse in the next few days. It means like I'm not very sure of it. I am not very sure of it. Maybe around 50% sure. But if I say this one, the world economy is sure to collapse in the next few days. So I am 100% if it is actually humanly possible. So I'm going to go with 99%. I'm 99% sure that something like this will happen. So you can use some adjectives that we have here. Sure, likely, unlikely, certain, or bound. Okay, bound is one that mostly native speakers use a lot. So if you can, try to use it. For example, you can say like Brock Lesnar is bound to lose to Roman Reigns. So he's bound to lose. Like he doesn't have any chance against this person. Okay, so it's always going to be, whenever they face each other, he will always lose. This is just one example, okay, of how you can use bound to. Do you have any questions here, guys? Okay, good. And just be careful, guys. Bound to plus an infinitive, or to plus infinitive, I mean, it is good to mostly use it with negative stuff, right? See, like bound to lose, right? Or you can say that, you know, the country is bound to become, you know, or the country is bound to become an enemy of the neighboring countries. Like it's something which is kind of bad. If it's good, try not to use bound to. I mean, there is no rule, specific rule that says that bound to must be used only with bad news, but you know, we mostly hear it with bad news. Okay, continuing, guys, and going, of course, to the next one. Now, the next one is future perfect and future continuous. So what do they do? Future perfect and future continuous, both of them are very important tenses in English. And they're kind of doing things that are a little hard for people to understand or compare because they even look a little similar. So the future perfect is actually like will, have, left. See, like, okay, so you have will, you have, and then you have verb 3. Very easy. That is the structure. First, let's write it. Future perfect. So you have your subject, you have your will, have. So will have, both of them is going to be the auxiliary verb here, okay? So don't forget. Okay, will have plus verb 3. And then, of course, you can continue it in any way you want, okay? As long as it gives meaning, of course. And when you want to make a negative, do it the same as you did the other one. So very easy. You can just say like subject plus will not have plus verb 3. Okay? Question form is also easy. You're just putting the auxiliary verb at the beginning. But what about the uses? What about the uses? So we use future perfect to describe what we expect to happen before a specific time. So something we can say like when we want to talk about the expectation of an action or an event before a particular time or moment or point in time. Let's go, yeah, that's good. Okay, so when we expect that something will happen before a specific time, but of course the time is going to be in the future because it's the future perfect. So in the future, we are going to use future perfect. Okay, let's go with some examples. For example, I don't know exactly when somebody will buy my car. I hope I will have sold it by the end of the month. So this person has not sold his car yet, but he really wants to. That's why he's hoping, okay? So he says, I hope I will have sold it by the end of the month. It means like when the calendar changes to the last day of the month, I would be happy if I don't have my car. That's what it means. Okay, so technically right now this person has it. You can also say like I will have finished university by 2025. See, like it means like in 2025, in this year, if you see me, there's a high chance that I'm done. There's a high chance that I'm done with university. I will have finished university by 2025. So what else can we say? Yeah, so this is the a good technique of forming good time expressions, like you're using by plus the time that you want or the deadline. So okay, don't forget by plus the deadline, by Friday, by the time. So this is a very good example. But if we go to the future continuous, now it's a little different. The future continuous, which is actually made by he will be driving, see, will be plus verb ing. So let's write it first. Future continuous. And the structure is subject plus will, be, and verb ing. Okay, so of course after that you can continue to any way you want. And if you want to make it negative, you just say like will not be. Will not be, and then you're going to add your verb ing once again. So the uses of this is these ones. We use future continuous for activities that will be in progress around a particular time in the future. So let's write actions in progress at a particular time in the future. Okay, so an example, let's go with an example. Don't phone me, don't call me at 5 p.m. I'll still be driving from home. I'll still be driving home from work at that time. So at 5 p.m., if it means if you call me, I might be in the process. I might be what? In the process of getting home or driving. So you can say like tomorrow at around 2 p.m. I will be watching a movie. So please do not arrange any meetings. See, so you're saying that tomorrow at around 2, so around 2 maybe from start even, be very, very generous. Start from 1 o'clock all the way to 3 o'clock, right? Or to 4 o'clock. I will be watching a movie. So at this time, if you come and see me, I will be in the process. I will be in the process of watching a movie. So please do not arrange any meetings because I will not be able to join. Did you get it, guys? Any questions? Very good. Okay. So there's one more here. So this is for planned stuff. So we can also use future continuous for things that are already planned. Okay. So for example, it'll be tough in my new job. I'll be getting up at 4 a.m. every day. So it means like, this person has got a new job and now he has already planned how his work day should begin. So he's saying, I'll be getting up. I'll be getting up. Another one can be like, let's write here, planned actions about the future. Okay. So for example, you can say, I'll be what? I'll be fixing 20 cars in a day at least if I get accepted as a mechanic. As a what? As a mechanic. So there's a job position open, like a vacant position for a mechanic, let's say. So you are you have applied there. So now you're saying that I'll be fixing 20 cars in a day at least if I get accepted. Okay. At the very least, this person is going to, fix about 20 cars. So he has already planned about it. So let's continue and check the other one as well. Okay, so the other one is gerunds and infinitives. Gerunds and infinitives. What are they and what are they going to do? So gerund and infinitive, they're kind of the easiest things that we currently have. Okay, but the problem is that, especially in this lesson itself, that you have to know some verbs, some specific certain verbs that we can use with either of them, or that only with one of them. But you have to know it, okay? So that only comes from a separate list that you have to study. I will share once again if you do not have it currently. So gerunds and infinitives. Gerund just means verb plus ing. Okay? Verb plus ing. Let's write it here. A gerund, the structure of a gerund, let's say, is a, or let's just go here. It's a verb plus ing. Plus ing. What is happening here? Okay. If we go to the structure, let's go with the structure or the usage first. Let's see whatever comes first. Okay, when verb plus ing functions like a noun, it is called a gerund. Okay, we use gerunds for what? When a verb is part of the subject of a sentence. Done. Okay, so let's go with uses. I believe structure is not very important here. Okay, we can use it as what? As subject in our sentences. We can use gerunds as subjects in our sentences. One example can be, sorry, why is this bold? Okay, for example, you can say that meeting Taylor Swift is going to be amazing. See, that is one, okay? And if you continue, of course, you can go to number 2. After prepositions, for example, like about or by or without or of or etc., like to and all of these things, you can use gerunds as well. For example, I worry too much about what? Mistakes, you're right. If you remove making, you're absolutely right, no problem. But if you want to add it, it's also correct. I worry too much about making mistakes. Why is it correct? Because it's a noun, okay? After prepositions, we always try to use nouns. Another one, they escaped by digging a tunnel under the wall. By digging. Another one. So if we also, let's write it here first. We can also use them after prepositions in our sentences. Okay, so one example can be, what can we say? Let's take some help, guys. I worry too much about making, let's write, I care a lot about improving my students' levels. Done. No problem, okay? So the same with many more. So you have many more examples, just you need to think about it a little bit and, you know, write some good sentences. Okay, so this is the usages. Now we're going to come to the infinitive. So what is the infinitive? What is the infinitive? Okay, so the infinitive one can be used, let's write here first. Infinitive. And for those people who do not know what infinitive is, guys, infinitive just looks like verb 1, or if you want to call or talk about the full infinitive, right? If you want to talk about full infinitive, it is going to be 2 plus verb 1. Okay, so what are the uses? So the uses of infinitive are, we use 2 plus infinitive or full infinitive after adjectives. We use them after adjectives. For example, happy, pleased, easy, difficult, dangerous, safe, or possible, or many more. For example, it is easy to find your way into the city center, but it's very difficult to get out again. So let's just make one example. First, we need to write it. We can use 2 plus infinitive or infinitive after adjectives. For example, it is important to work hard when you have the energy to do so. Okay? Another one is like to express purpose. To express purpose. So let's write. We use to plus infinitive. Sorry. Yeah. To express purpose. Now, purpose is like a target, okay? So when you want to, talk about the target or the goal of why you're doing something, you can use infinitive. One very example or easy or simple example can be like, I watch movies to enjoy life, okay? I watch movies. So this is the action. To enjoy life is like, this is the reason I'm doing that. This is the reason I'm doing that. Let's also get one from here. We're going to be at the beach to lie in the sun. So because we want to be or we want to lie in the sun. This is another way of saying it. If you don't like to use to plus infinitive, you can always use because plus a clause, but that is very long, so people don't really suggest it. Another one is like you can put it at the beginning to watch the clip again, then you put a comma because it's coming at the beginning, and after that you can have your clause, either an imperative sentence like here, press or play, or either you're gonna have your own sentence. Let's go with one of those. We can say like, to earn a lot of money, you have to know some very powerful people in the country. Okay, and the sentences are done. Very, very easy. Now we have one more, which is a little funny there, but I think we can talk about that. Okay, let's see. So that one is actually called verb plus verb. Now the problem here is which verb is this? The first verb. Okay. So there are many verbs which are followed by gerunds. For example, I enjoy painting. You cannot say I enjoy to paint. This is completely wrong. I enjoy to paint is not a good sentence, but I enjoy painting is absolutely right. Okay. So some verbs like enjoy, like mind, like discuss, I think. Yeah, discuss is one of them. Can be followed by gerunds. But also, many of them are also followed by to plus infinitive. For example, I want to watch, or I love to eat chocolate, right? So there are also a few which allow both patterns with a change of meaning. Change of meaning is like, they work with both, but the meanings are a little different. For example, I stopped smoking, a very famous example I mostly give to people. I stopped smoking, or I stopped to smoke. Both sentences are right, but both of them have very, very different meanings. Okay, so for this one, guys, I believe we don't have a lot of time to just completely talk about each of them. I will share a PDF after it, okay, with all of you. Read there, and also you can read this part as well. So in here, it's going to talk about the differences between using tried plus an infinitive or to plus infinitive and using tried plus a gerund. Okay, I believe yes. Okay, do you have any questions here, guys? Okay, and there is one thing, guys, in here that we don't really have a lot of sources outside this book, so we're going to talk about it here, or at least if there are sources, finding them is a bit hard. So they're called sense verbs. Okay, what do you call them? Sense verbs. So you sense what is happening around you. Okay, verbs connected with the senses can be followed by an object and a verb and ing. So how? For example, you can use look at something, see, watch, notice, observe, which is also one of the sense verbs, sorry. Hear is of course there, listen to, feel, smell, and taste. One example is like, I watched the people walking around. Another one is I could smell something burning. So how do you form this? Let's write it here. Sense verbs. Sorry. Okay. So the structure as we have here is like you have a verb, okay? You have the verb or the sense verb itself. Let's write the sense verb plus, what do you have after that? You have an object. See, the people. So let's write object. And then you have ing, walking, burning, or whatever. And ing, let's write a gerund that describes the object. That describes what? The object. One example can be like, I saw. See, I what, guys? I saw. What is saw? Saw is a sense verb. Okay? I saw who? I saw Masuda, and now I need a gerund. For example, I saw Masuda working hard yesterday. See, this is right. Or you can make it a little different. For example, I heard. So I didn't see with my own eyes. I just heard. Okay, what did you hear? I heard, for example, I heard Qudus. Okay, I heard Qudus breaking door open last week. So for example, you know, you're all living somewhere and you just come and you see that the door is broken. The person responsible is going to ask, hey, so what happened? Then you say that, okay, I didn't see, so I'm not going to say that, but I heard Qudus breaking the door. What do you mean you heard it? For example, I heard the sound of Qudus, right? So he was talking a bit. There were his own voice there, and also I could hear some banging on the door, like this. Like, there was a sound that you knew someone was breaking something wooden. So it was a door. It was a door. So this is a very good little structure that we have. If you want to use it, please do not forget to get note of the sense verbs first. So going to the other one, guys, coming back, sorry. Okay, the passive. Now, the passive is not very hard, but the problem is that there are many tenses in English that we can use in passive, right? So for that reason, I believe we have to talk about one general structure. Hopefully, that is going to help you understand how to change active sentences into passive based on all the tenses that we have, just by changing a little bit of the structure. Okay, so let's write it, the passive. So the passive voice is actually like something that you use for when there's more importance, right? More importance on the object rather than subject, or when the subject is unclear, we use it. What else? Or if you want to make your sentence a bit more formal, or a bit also indirect. Now, indirect, we'll talk about it, but it's also something very good. Now, for the passive voice, we can stay all day here and keep listing the reasons why we need to use the passive, or we just can go directly and check the structure as well. Okay, so the general structure for the passive is actually something called be plus verb 3. That is it, guys. No hard thing, just two different words, be plus verb 3. And something that you should know, we choose be according to the tense of the active voice sentence, and we choose verb 3 according to the main verb of the sentence, which is from the active sentence, technically. Okay, so let's give some examples. Okay, one example can be like, okay, active sentence. Let's say the London Gate Bridge. Sorry, I was about to write the passive first. Let's put a name. James the second. Okay, I'm not sure who that is. James the second built the London Gate Bridge back in 1950. Okay, so if I want to change it to the passive, I just first bring the London Gate Bridge because this is the object. So we'll bring it first, the London Gate Bridge. Now, if I just check this, the general structure, I can see that it is made from be and verb 3. So the be, as we said here, is chosen according to the tense of the active voice. Okay, so we're going to say like the London Gate Bridge, and here the tense is what? Past simple. So I'm going to go with past. Was what? Verb 3 was chosen according to the main verb of the sentence, which is mostly from the active sentence itself. So built. Built is verb 2 and verb 3 is also built. The London Gate Bridge was built back in 1950. My sentence is done, not a big problem, I'm done. But if I want to mention this, right? If we want to mention who has done this, so technically the subject, right? We can use the by phrase, okay? The by phrase, which is like by plus the agent or the person or the thing that did it. The London Gate Bridge was built back in 1955 by James II. Do you have any questions here? Very good. Okay, so guys, one more thing that you should know. So this is a general structure, okay? If you want to change like a perfect, tense, you have to add some things. If you want to change a continuous tense, you have to once again add some stuff there. So I'm going to give you 1 or 2 examples for both, and then we'll continue. Okay. So the third one, let's go with a perfect tense. For example, I have done my homework. You can say my homework has been done by me. Okay. So this is the way to say it. My homework has been done by me. Has been done. So, you can say, you could actually say that, has been alone, or both, sorry, has been is the be form, in the perfect or in the present perfect tense. Okay, that way it will be much easier for you. This is the be category, or the be part, the be section, and done is of course verb 3. Okay, and if we go with one continuous as well, for example, you can say that she is watching the movies. Okay, you can say like the movies are being watched by her. Now, how again? So because it's the continuous tense, so you're putting being, so it's an ing, but because it's the present continuous, you also have to show that it's the present continuous by putting a present be form. So if I don't just put it, now people are going to be confused a lot, because like being alone doesn't mention any tense, even though it's a be verb, yes, but it does not mention any tense. We don't know if it's the present, future, or past. So we're going to go with are because it's the present continuous. The movies are being watched, and watched is again verb 3, and in here we got it from the main verb, from the active sentence. Okay, so some differences of course come, some changes have to be brought in order to have good and accurate sentences, but that is going to be left to you, and I know that you can do it with just a little bit of practice. Any questions there, guys? Very good. Okay, so then we have prepositions after made. We can use a range of prepositions after passives with made. For example, made by, if you want to use what? Made plus by, the preposition by. Try to include a method of that. For example, these cakes are made by hand. Hand is the method here. or by mixing cornflakes with chocolate. Mixing is the method that this thing was made in, or made by, sorry. Okay, then you have like made with. When you mention with, it's good to use a tool. For example, I think these markers or these marks were made with a knife. With a knife, okay? When you want to use the word or the preposition with, try to include the name of the tool. Okay, after that you have made of. So after of, you're going to use a material, the name of a material. For example, the wings are made of very strong plastic. Or you can say like the TV screens that we have around here in the country are made of plastic as well. So they're not glass, right? I think they're plastic. And then you have made from. Okay, made from plus original product object, right? What was it first? Or we can also say made out of and then mention the original object. For example, our table is made from an old door. So we had a door in the apartment. We just took it down and we made a table out of it. Or our desks, right? Our desks are made out of what? Out of old trees that we have back in the Amazon rainforest. So these kind of examples are really good. All I need you to do is just memorize, okay? With by, its method. With its tool. With of, its material. With from or with out of, its original object that was used. Any questions? Very good. Okay, so guys, the other grammar that we have is to, enough, so, and such. Okay, so very easy. Let's go with to first. What does it mean? Let's write meaning. And okay, the meaning of to is kind of like more than the right amount. So when there's something more than the right amount, more than something that you actually need, you use to, okay? And the structures are a bit different, so let's go with some examples, and then I think we can, elicit some structures out of them. For example, we have too many chairs. So here it's two plus, or let's just write too many plus count nouns. Okay, another one. We have too much salt. Too much plus non-count or uncount nouns. Okay, and then you can also mention like with an adjective, for example, or with an adverb, right? You can say like name, yeah, Sasha. Sasha is too tall. So too plus what, guys? Plus an adjective. Okay, you can use these little techniques that we have. And another one is like, let's go with Dasha this time. Dasha eats beans too quickly. Okay, now it's too plus an adverb. Okay, so these are the many techniques or the many ways that we can use to. Of course, we're just talking about this meaning, not the other meaning that says or that means also. Okay, so that is not in our lesson today. But to also has the meaning of also. So, any questions with to, guys? Good. Okay, so what about enough? What meaning does enough give to you? So the meaning of enough is like just the right amount of something, of course. Not less or, sorry, not less and not more, kind of like that, okay? So if we check some examples, I think we can once again find some structures for them. We can say like we have enough chairs, so it's enough plus count nouns. Okay, then we have enough salt, right? This time is going to be enough plus non-count nouns or uncount nouns. But once again, they look the same. This is a good thing for us. Another one is like, you know, she is tall enough to compete at a modeling competition. I hope we can call it a competition. Okay, yeah. So what does it do? In here you have an adjective plus enough. Okay. And if you also want to talk about an adverb, so once again you can do it. You can say, for example, Emma. What does Emma do? Emma drinks water quickly enough. Okay, so what is the structure? You have adverb plus enough. Okay, do you have any questions here, guys? Very good. And of course, you can make them negative as well. So, you know, we don't have enough chairs. We don't have enough salt. She is not tall enough. Emma doesn't drink water quickly enough. So that is okay. I mean, if you just make it negative, I mean, not enough, if you choose to use what? Not enough, you're just saying that this is not the right amount. And mostly it means that this is very, very less than the actual thing that you need. So for that one, we will not talk about it, but if you know it, it is absolutely good, or it is absolutely necessary to know even. Okay, going with the other one, guys, is so and such. So and such. Let's start with so. So the meaning of so is to intensify. Is to what? Intensify other things. Okay, so to make them stronger. For example, check some of these examples, guys. Sorry. So we can say like, she is so tall. See? So the structure here is so plus adjective. Okay? And another sentence I'm going to write, you just tell me if I can say it or not. She is so a good girl. Can I say it, guys? Sorry, your voice is very, very. Okay, so if I remove it, now is it correct? She's so good girl? Uh-huh. Really? Guys, others? She's so good girl. What if I put it here? She's a so good girl. Okay, guys, let's just say it, okay? This structure is not working. She's so good girl doesn't work, okay? So for now, we only have this. We only have what? So plus adjective. If you put this here, this kind of makes it very hard for us. It is not natural and it's not also right. Instead of this, you can use something else. Do you know what that is? I'm sorry, what is that? We can use something called such, okay? So this is the way that we do it. What is going on here? Okay, so for example, we can say that she is such a nice girl. Okay, so in here, you're using such plus a noun or an adjective and a noun. These things, like, you know, you can of course put it, but don't forget the article if needed. Okay, so we're gonna write article if needed, of course, plus an adjective plus a noun. Okay, so she is such a nice girl. This is the technique. Once again, the thing that it does is also is that it is going to intensify. It's going to make it a bit more, you know, emphasizing. Okay, so for example, to make stronger once again. But this time for the examples, as you can see, we have different structures. This one says she is so tall. There's no noun, but in here, she is such a nice girl. You have such an article if needed, because if your noun is singular, there's a big chance that you have to use an article like a or an. Such a nice girl. Okay. Do you have any questions here, guys? Very good. Okay, what else? Okay, we come to the causatives, guys. We come to the what? To the causatives. Now, the causatives is like, they're very, very good forms, let's say, or grammar section that we need to learn. And there are not a lot, even, like the causative verbs are not a lot in English, but in your book, you're just focusing on causatives with get and causatives with have, okay? So what are they? What are they? The meaning or the usage, let's say, the meaning or the usage for that is to talk about actions that others do by the request of you. Okay, so yeah, it's a little confusing. Let's clarify it. Some examples. For example, you can say like, I had my hair cut by the barber the other day. The other day. See, I had my hair cut by the barber the other day. What does it say? I had my hair cut. So this is the action. Cutting hair is the action. Who did it? Did I do it? Technically, no. But I did actually get somebody else to do that for me. So others do it by the request of you. So I requested the barber to cut my hair. Okay, I had my hair cut by the barber the other day. And the structure that we use for this, let's write the structure here, a little funny this time. You're gonna use your subject plus had or have or whatever you want, because we said causatives with have, right? So it can be have, but any tense of them you want. Subject plus have plus object. So you have your object. What did you have? So your hair. I had my hair. What did you want to be done to the hair? Now you're going to put a verb 3. Okay? Now, the good part of it is, guys, the good part of it is that you have something else. By plus agent here as well. By who did this action happen to this object? Okay? So another one with get, let's go. Because like I got the TOEFL exam taken by my brother, which is a little funny. What does it mean, guys? It means that the number or the score of the TOEFL came to me, but I didn't actually take it. Who took it? My brother took the test. So you can say that subject plus get or got or any tense plus the object, what did you want to be taken? And after that, object, you have verb 3, the action that was done to the object, and then you have by plus agent once again. Okay, so one small difference that we have, between have and get is that have is more, like, let's say it's leaning toward paying. Okay, have is used when you have paid money, for that thing, and get is used when you haven't or have not paid any money for that action. So you can say like, I had my hair cut by the barber, because you pay money for that. But if you say like, I got the house cleaned by my sister, that is okay. So it's like you went to your sister and you said, hey sister, please come and clean my room or clean my house, right? So that is when you don't pay it. So that's get. Most of the time. It's not always, it's not 100%, but most of the time that is the case, okay? When you pay, get. Sorry, when you pay, have. When you don't pay, get. Any questions? Very good. Okay. Seems like we are done with this one. Okay, let me just see how many are left. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So, guys, it's okay. The remaining, I believe we should leave it for the next day. Okay, we will do one more review day, and then we will talk about the exams as well. Okay, so I think it's enough. If you don't have any questions, we will stop the lesson. You have any questions?